Hello, friends. Welcome, everyone. I am so excited that you are here. I'm Sheneatha. I am a school outreach librarian with the Brooklyn Public Library, and we're so excited to see you all. Awesome. Now, before we get started, we just got a little bit of housekeeping to do here. First off, you'll probably see on your screen here it says, tell us in the chat what's your favorite color. We're going to do a lot of communicating with each other today. Okay, so let's get started right now. Tell us what's your favorite color in the chat, and tell us what did you like to dress up as when you were a child or now. Tell us all about it. Let me see if I can take a second. I love to dress up like whatever actor was on TV doing something dramatic. Yeah, so let me think. I had to think about who that was back in the day. Yeah, put your favorite color in there and tell us who you like to dress up with. Oh, I see some stuff already. Jessica wanted to dress up as a teacher. Oh my goodness. The future was already revealing itself. Okay, so if you want to have captions in Zoom, all you need to do is click on live transcript. It should be at the bottom of your page on the right side, live transcript, and then click on show subtitles. Good job, you all. I can see you're talking in the chat already. I love it. And then we will be recording this event and we can send the caption recording to everyone. So that'll be available. Please use the question and answer option for content questions, okay? And then you can use the chat for everything else, like for saying purple and I'm a grown up. I see that out there, Marita. Marita wants us to know purple is the thing. I agree. I loved purple as a kid too. So now that we've got all our housekeeping out of the way, I'm going to give you an official welcome. It's a book birthday. Happy birthday, being you. Yes. Happy birthday for the new book, Being You, a first conversation about gender. I know that you are ready to celebrate. I've got my birthday snack. It's summer, so my snack is a popsicle. Delicious, yes. But I hope you have some snack of your own. You got some cake, some ice cream, pretzels, whatever snack makes you happy. Grab that because we're going to be together for the world premiere of this book. That's right. I'm going to show it to you right here. Isn't it beautiful? This is the first time that it will be read in public, and you're here for it. And we're going to meet the fantastic authors and illustrator. Now, actually, you guys, funny story, this is the only copy in the United States right now, right? Because this is the official book launch date, but the physical books won't be here until August 10th, right? Yeah, so this is the only physical copy, and we've got it right here to show you because you're a special guest. Yeah. Well, I want to thank a few people and then we're going to bring on our special guest. I want to say a big thank you to Rise Penguin Publishing and to Penguin Kids for bringing great books like the ones in this first conversation series to the public eye. Yeah. And then I want to thank Greenlight Bookstore, the place to go in Brooklyn and all over the world via their website to get the books that you love. Now, I know you're going to want to purchase Being You. You're going to want to purchase it after you read the book. You're going to want to. So you can go to greenlightbookstore.com to do that. And we've got something special for you this time, you guys. When you order your book at greenlightbookstore.com, you can get a signed copy. That's right. Megan and Jessica are going to sign the book for you. And you even have an opportunity to ask them to put a special message or personalization in there just for you. So in your comment sections when you're getting the book, you're going to be able to ask them to say something special like, to Tommy, my favorite person from Jessica. Okay, right? I don't know if you're going to do that, but hey, you could do what you do, right? Okay. So after we've heard from our guests today, you will have a chance to ask them some questions. So just go to the Q&A option and type in your question. And you can put in your first name if you'd like us to share that when we're sharing your question. Now on to the main event. Now, if you've been to a training or workshop with Jessica or Megan, then you know that they are fabulous. And I'm not exaggerating, you guys. The knowledge that they share and the warmth that they exude is wonderful. Helping children feel valued and empowering them, along with those who nurture and educate children, is what they do. And so we want them to be at our schools and organizations and even our homes to share this knowledge. And yes, you can invite them to your school for author visits and such, but the problem is they only have so many hours in a day. So it's so exciting that we have some of that knowledge and that love in the form of a beautiful resource that we can access at any time. And isn't it beautiful? And that's thanks to the wonderful talent of the illustrator, Andy Passchier. So now let's please give a warm virtual welcome to Megan Madison, Jessica Ralli, and Andy Passchier. Yay!
Yay! Hi!
Hi, everybody! Hi, Megan.
Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Andy. Hi, everybody. Hi, Sheneatha.
Hey, the chat is going crazy for you all. Did you all bring some snacks? You saw that I brought my popsicle. What did you bring for your birthday party snacks?
I brought bubble tea.
Ooh. I brought a very small unicorn cupcake, which I'm really excited to eat soon.
I made myself a nice fancy fruit bowl.
Ooh.
Apple's getting a little bit brown, but that's okay.
That just means it's real, Andy. That's what
It
we
is.
want.
It really is.
Real apple.
Some of that fruit. I love it. I would love to have some of the fruit. Everybody's excited. They're going crazy in the chat, you all, about your snacks and about you. Okay.
Hi, Uncle Mike.
Oh, Uncle Mike. Hi, Uncle Mike.
Friends and family. It's so exciting. Ooh, someone's eating crepes and candy. Yum.
Ooh, yes, crazy candy. Yes. Well, you guys, along with your snacks, would you take a few minutes and introduce yourselves to our audience? Just share anything that you want to share about yourselves and how you came to this incredible work.
Yes. Megan likes when I go first. Is that still true?
Yes, that is still true. Go for it.
All right. I'm so excited to be here. I'm going to get one of those smile cramps in my face. I can feel it already. So I'm going to do a little massage. But my name is Jessica Ralli, and the pronouns that feel good to me are she and her. And I am co-author of Being You, A First Conversation About Gender, which, as Sheneatha said, is part of the First Conversation series. And I work here at Brooklyn Public Library. We're here technically at Brooklyn Public Library in our virtual space. And I'm so happy to be able to do this again in this wonderful place that I work. And I'm the coordinator of early literacy programs here. And that means I get to work with Sheneatha on lots of fun projects. And Kimberly, who's helping out tonight too, is in our department. And I also get to work with brilliant folks that we bring to the library, like Megan, who I met at the library. So I always like to talk about how we met, because that was really the beginning of all of this. And Megan came to the library to do workshops about race and gender. And her workshops were deeply, deeply impactful for me, as they are for so many, and for our community. And it just made me very hungry to do more and to learn more. And it was really a huge turning point in my thinking as a parent and as an educator, and for my own inner child even. So I have a lot of deep gratitude I want to just put out here right at the beginning for Megan, and for that connection that was made, and for the library for being the space where that happened. And in terms of what brought me to this book and to this topic, as many of you know, our first book was about race. And I think talking about gender is just as important as talking about race with young children, and then talking also about how race and gender intersect. And I think that gender falls under the same category of things that young children are already thinking about, already talking about, already experiencing, but that grownups don't necessarily talk about with them for lots of different reasons. So the question for me as a parent and as an educator is, do I want to be part of their conversation that they're already having or not? And so clearly the answer was yes, in like a big way. This feels very big at times, because it's like not just my conversation, now we're in all of your conversations. But I think that that's really important. And it was important for me because at the time it was coming up with my kids and in the library and with other parents. And it felt really hard. It felt like I didn't have a lot of models. I didn't have until Megan, and until like some of the resources that I found through Megan and through other people really, really seeking it out. It felt like I didn't have the same kind of tools that we have to teach kids about other things like dinosaurs and even STEM, advanced STEM concepts, which there are board books for now. And arguably, I think young children are more impacted by gender than they are dinosaurs. But I don't know, maybe that's a controversial statement. But I do know that, you know, even before children are born, they're being impacted by the patriarchy and the gender binary. And most of the time, children are assigned a sex and a gender while they're still in the womb. That happened with me and my womb. And when they're born based on that assignment, there's just all these expectations already about who they should be and how they're allowed to express who they are. And so they're confronted with gender and gender expectations and stereotypes so early. So that's why I felt it was really important and in my parenting, and then of course for the book.
What a powerful introduction.
That's a lot. I'm sorry.
No, it was great. I'm taking it all in. Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Megan. I go by she and her and hers. I know many of you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for saying hello in the chat. It makes my heart really happy to see your names and to know that you're here with us in this moment, celebrating this really incredible book birthday. I came to this work. It's hard to figure out how to tell the story, so I'm grateful for your modeling, Jessica. I had been doing workshops mostly for teachers on race and racism for a number of years. And then one day, a colleague, Katie Schaefer, who you'll get to meet in a future slide, a person who is really instrumental in my journey and in this process, was like, hey, I've been thinking we need to do gender and sexuality workshops for early childhood educators. Would you be interested in leading some of that work? And my initial reaction was like, no. I studied race in grad school. Like, I have a gender. I am gendered. I am impacted every single day by patriarchy and the gender binary. And I have lots of thoughts and feelings about it, but it felt really personal. A lot of the research that I had done, the learning I had done, the thinking I had done about gender in early childhood was prompted by my family, by my community. And it felt really vulnerable to step into a role of like facilitating conversations with other grownups about gender. But Katie was like, nope, you can do it. Here's the microphone, go. And one day I ended up at the Brooklyn Public Library leading a workshop that Jessica made possible. And then everything kind of, came from that. So the work comes from professional stuff, from personal stuff, and from, like, I love this picture. I love that we have pictures of us as young children. I think so much of this work has to do with, like, what are the messages? What are the books I wish existed when I was that old? What do I wish that I could have, like, gone to the library and pulled out and read to myself before bed? And so this also comes from, like, baby Megan. That was my first day of kindergarten in Detroit, Michigan. This is a book for her.
My turn.
Yes, Andy, your turn.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andy Passchier. I use they, them pronouns. I'm a non-binary illustrator. I am originally from the Netherlands, but I moved to the US to go to art school and kind of, decided found that I loved illustration and I loved doing illustration for kids. So kind of rolled into that world and somehow found my place. I still don't really know how I got this lucky and how I'm now, doing this full time as like my main work. It's been really amazing. I actually started my journey as a professional artist designing gift wrap. So I did a lot of Christmas wrapping paper. If you've ever been to like Target or Walmart during the Christmas season, who knows, you may have at one point bought something that I designed. You just wouldn't know it because, the names aren't on it. It's just gift wrap. And then I did that for a couple years and I kind of started feeling this itch of, I'm a non-binary person and I want to reach out to other people in the LGBT community and do work sort of aimed at that a lot more. And again, like Megan said, thinking about what kind of books I would have liked to see as a kid. I didn't come out until like my mid to late 20s. was when I, first started hearing terms and, kind of realizing more who I was. And I think it would have been so great to have that earlier on and to be able to have those conversations. So that's why I do this now. And it's been really fun so far.
Yay. Thank you so much for sharing, you all. I didn't share my pronouns. They're she and her. And I also want to remind you all that if you have any issues while we're going along here, any tech issues, you can just put your question in the chat and Kimberly with BPL will get with you to help you out with that, okay? I am loving this already, you all, because you have talked about how there's a need in you and we are all like a big village and you're like, how can I meet the same need in other people? So I love that. We already seeing the compassion and just a desire to empower other people in ways that you want to be empowered. And there are people who helped you with this journey. Oh my gosh, this is kind of interesting because you got into some real research for this one. Can you tell us about the people that helped with the process?
Yeah. So we made a book and there were so many people who helped us in so many different ways. So these are the photos and the names of some of the people who were particularly influential, especially in helping Jessica and I find the right words to communicate what we're trying to communicate in the book. Deep thank you to each and every one of them. And also there's so many more. I'm thinking about like some really important feedback we got from an author, Maya Gonzalez, or from Kyle Lukoff, or from Key Gross of Woke Kindergarten. So this is just a moment to pause and acknowledge that while our names are on the front of the book, this really is a labor of love. And there were so many important people who are part of the process.
Awesome. Yay. You just gave a finger clap, Jessica. A finger praise. I love it. Okay. So I love it. So talk to us about the series in general, you all. Tell us about First Conversations. And I love that title, by the way.
I'm so excited that I'm remembering to change the slides as you're talking. I'm just gonna.
You're doing awesome.
I don't usually do that, but and that last slide was so beautiful to look at. But yes, I will tell you a little bit about the series for those of you who are new to this and to us and to all of this, and then Megan can tell you a little bit more about the book itself. But First Conversations is a board book series. It's for children ages 2 to 5, but I think, I like to think of it as 2 and up because we've had feedback from lots of older kids and grown-ups and lots of people who have read our first book and have found it really helpful. And so the topics we've written about so far are race, gender, consent is next, and bodies. And there will be more. Maybe we can even tell you a little bit about that later. But we write these books using very clear, concrete language written for very young children. That's sort of like always on our mind, but we want to structure it in a way that makes room for discussion, makes room for people's stories and different identities. And then also, as I mentioned, furthers grown-up thinking on the topic. And as we were writing, we talked a lot about how grown-ups, some of these ideas are going to be new to grown-ups or said in a way that I think is very accessible, no matter where you're coming at these topics from. And each book in the series follows a similar path. So we start each book with an awareness and affirmation of self, and then giving language to describe yourself and describe the beautiful diversity and differences that are out in the world. And then looking at injustice and the different patterns, but as they apply and can be accessible to a young child and a young child's world. So examples that they can really kind of relate to and understand. And then finally, the empowering message that there are lots of people that are working to change those things that are unfair and that we can all do it too. And that grownups are, here to help you, hopefully, to do that. And the last thing I'll say is we try really hard to be truthful and honest in the books because we believe that that's what children deserve and can handle as long as we're explaining it in a way that meets where they are.
Mm-hmm. I love that terminology. That's what they deserve and that's what they can handle. I think that both of those, because sometimes we don't see that as that's almost like that's a gift to them. They need to have this information and to talk about it, but to know that they can handle it, because that's the scary part of it, is how do we talk about it. So tell us more about this specific book, Being You, and why is it so important that we talk about issues like gender with young children?
What a good question. I was thinking on it, and I so far got to two answers that I have to that question. The first is that I want, like with every cell in my whole body, to live in a world where each and every young child knows without any doubt in their mind that they are just right exactly as they are. And we know that really unfair patterns of the gender binary and patriarchy are telling kids untrue messages, that there is something wrong with them, or there's something that doesn't fit, or that something about them needs to change. And I want to change that. So this book is one tiny piece of like starting to send the true message that each and every kid is just right exactly as they are. And knowing it's like a big long-term project to dismantle patriarchy and the gender binary, I think it's doable, and it's going to take all of us. And I really think we're going to do a better job at it if we partner with young kids in that struggle. I think young children are brilliant and brave and ask incredible questions and are so in touch with their feelings and their imaginations that like it will serve all of us if we are actively engaging and partnering with young children to dismantle the things in the world that are really unfair and build a world that we all deserve and want to live in.
Yes, they are brilliant and brave, Megan. I agree with that, and we can work together to achieve these goals. So I want to read the book. Can we try to get into the book?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
Yeah, we're gonna read the book. This is the part I'm really excited for. We actually asked some special guests to read the introduction to our book in the form of a video, and so I'm going to share that with you now. And also just say that, Megan and I didn't have access to a whole lot of kids during this process because it was pandemic. And so this was one of the ways we've been trying to use media just to like hear from children, and it's been really powerful. So now you get to hear from some children who are reading the introduction to our book. Technology. Okay, here we go.
Well, I'm so excited. I haven't seen this yet. I'm so excited.
The first message we receive about gender happened in early childhood. We learn from a young age that gender is an important social category, and that there are things we should or shouldn't do won't be based on the gender and sex we're assigned at birth.
Thanks to the tireless work of feminist organizers
and activists of all genders, so much has shifted and changed in our lifetimes. But those messages are still out there.
And young children need to support from trusted grown-ups in their lives to help them make sense of what they're seeing, hearing, and feeling.
This book is a good place to begin or continue the conversation. It's okay to take a break. Leave something out for now. Or leave inside out.
Oh my goodness. How beautiful was that? Oh my gosh, that was awesome.
I love those little voices so much. Yeah, so thank you to anybody who's here tonight who shared a video, even if it's not in this video, we will be sending you books as soon as they hit our soil, and also hope to use this in some ways to teach other people and for our resources and things like that, because it's so amazing and powerful to hear them read those words. So now Megan and I will read the book for you all. Are you all ready?
I want to just remind everybody, while Megan and Jessica, while they're reading, if they ask questions, answer them in the chat, okay? So I want you to be involved as though we're really reading this book together, because we are. So this gives us a little practice for how we want everyone to experience the book. Okay. All right, I think we're ready now. You guys ready to get into the chat? Okay, they're ready, Jessica and Megan.
All right, Being You A First Conversation About Gender by Megan Madison, Jessica Ralli, and Andy Passchier. That's what the back looks like. So cool. And this is the intro that the kids read. So we'll start with the book.
There is only one you in the whole world. Isn't that amazing?
You have a body. Everybody does. What do you love about your body? You can put those answers in the chat. If you're with a child, you can ask them and put that in the chat.
Different bodies have different parts. Elbows, noses, belly buttons. Some bodies have a vagina, some bodies have a penis. Every person's body parts look different, but there are some body parts that we all have.
When a baby is born, grown-ups might say it's a girl if their body has a vagina, or it's a boy if their body has a penis. Some grown-ups aren't sure, but they choose the words girl or boy anyway. What did your grown-ups call you when you were born?
My grown-ups called me a girl.
My grown-ups call me a girl too.
Some babies grow into a different gender than the one that grown-ups called them. There are lots of different genders that people grow into. Some people are girls, some people are boys, some people are neither, some people are both. What are some genders that you know about?
It's okay to wonder, am I a girl? Am I a boy? Am I both? Am I neither? Maybe you already know. There's no right or wrong answer. And it's okay if your answer changes. What do you wonder about yourself? What do you know?
Whatever your feelings are, they are real and they are important. You are the expert in being you. When we look at this page, we see lots of different characters and they're all saying something different. This child says, I'm a girl. This person says, today I feel like a boy. The one in the middle says, I'm a girl too. On the next page with their arms out, that child saying, I'm an in-betweener. The grown-up in the back says, I'm a woman. And in the front, the character says, I'm trans.
Pronouns are words that people use to talk about someone instead of using that person's name, like they, she, or he. Some words might feel more like you than others. And on this page, I see some of the same kids, and they are telling us what words to use instead of their name or to use their name. I see one child saying, I go by Z. And another child saying, ella, por favor. He and him work for me. My pronouns are they and them. Please just use my name. What are your pronouns?
There are lots of ways to show the world who you are, and they are all wonderful. There are so many toys, clothes, hairstyles, and colors to choose from. You know what you like because it makes you feel happy and at home in your body. What is your favorite color? What do you like to dress up as?
You may have heard people say, that's just for boys, or that's just for girls. Has someone ever picked out toys or clothes for you, but they didn't make you feel happy or at home in your body, how did that make you feel? And it looks like this person's grown up is holding up a green shirt, and I can see some feelings on that child's face. I wonder how that child's feeling about the green shirt. What do you think?
I saw Madeline write in the chat, like poop.
Yeah.
Felt right to me. When that has happened to me, I feel like poop. Doesn't feel good.
I love it.
Thank you, Madeline. For a long time, many people have said and believed untrue things, like you're either a boy or a girl, or boys are stronger and smarter than everybody else. There are lots of unfair rules that give boys more power. Have you noticed any unfair rules about gender?
Madeline says, yes. Me too. I notice an unfair rule on this page. Thankfully, there are also many brave grown-ups and kids who say, no, that's not true, and that's not fair. People who work together to change unfair rules about gender are called feminists. Who are some feminists in your family? My mom's a feminist and she's here tonight. Hi, Mom.
My Uncle Mike is a feminist and he's here tonight.
Hi, Mike.
We can practice being feminists by noticing unfair things around us and by working together to make things more fair.
The things we say and do matter and can make the world better for everyone. What unfair things do you notice? What can you say or do about them? And they can be unfair things you notice on this page or in your life or in your world or in your classroom. And you can think about what you can say or do about them.
We want the world to be more fair because each one of us is just right, exactly as we are. Being ourselves makes the world beautiful.
The end. Thank you all for listening and for your incredible comments. I see that Jenny said it's unfair that boys can't fight girls and girls. Oh, the comments are just moving too fast. Girls can fight boys. My son said that. Oh yeah. Thank you so much. Oh, for all these words. I'm just going to show you, not read this part, but I'm going to show you the back part. In the publishing world, we call it back matter, which was a new word for me. So there are 2 pages here with the different topics that we talked about, and these have more ideas for how to continue the conversation, how to incorporate all of this learning naturally into play and into reading and into talking with young children. So hopefully you'll find this part of the book really, really helpful. It was really helpful for us to write, and hopefully it'll be helpful for you to read. So thank you.
Yay! That was wonderful, you guys. I really enjoyed hearing you read too. Can we have story hour at the library with Jessica and Megan?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, you two come do story hour. Andy can illustrate as you all are talking. And Andy's like, yeah, sure, that's what's gonna happen. No, but I love it. Being you makes the world beautiful. That makes me so happy, you all. That's like one of those things to put on your mirror and look at every day. Remind yourself. Well, I want to, now that we've seen how wonderful the book is, I want to talk about the process. This is your second book together. How was the collaboration process for this book? Oh, I'm seeing the chat. They're so amazing. Love this book. They're saying all kinds of wonderful stuff, you all.
changing that slide. Okay. Um, yeah, this was the second book we wrote together, and this was the only book of the four, only other book of the four that we got to meet in person for. And so we read together a lot of books. That's what the picture on the left is. We shared books with each other that we had never read before. We reread the ones that we really, really loved. You know, just to, there are books that we really loved that were about gender that tended to be more for older kids, but we wanted to build on what those amazing authors and illustrators had already started. And so we just read a lot. And then to hone in on our main ideas, we used index cards because we're teachers. And it was such a fun exercise. And we did this for both books. And the picture on the right is actually both of our ideas, but we have bizarrely very similar handwriting. So similar that I couldn't even tell whose were who, but I brought a few. So the way we did this, what was cool is we wrote separately and we didn't peek at each other's ideas. We wrote separately our ideas on index cards, and then we compared notes and we lined them up. And so we wrote a lot of the same ideas. So for example, Megan wrote gender misassignment here, and then I wrote gender assignment here. And then so we could put those together. And I'll just show two more examples. Megan wrote body, bodies are different. And then I wrote body parts. So that was related. So these were just sort of the main ideas before we even started writing. And then Megan in her beautiful handwriting wrote gender expression, and I also wrote gender expression. So these were some of the ideas that aligned. And then of course we had different ideas, and that was part of the joy of working together. And then I think Megan's going to talk about something else in the process.
Yeah, so then we had like our core concepts. We figured out what are the main things we want to talk about and in what order. And then as Jessica said, we sat down and separately wrote drafts. So this is my first draft of like 1 page. It just spilled out. I was like, okay, you probably noticed some patterns about girls and boys, and you've probably also noticed some things that don't follow the pattern. And you've also probably noticed some feelings and ideas inside yourself about girls and boys. A long time ago, some grownups had the idea that there are only 2 kinds of people, 2 different kinds of bodies, and 2 genders, girls and boys. A fancy word for that is called the gender binary, et cetera, right? That was my first draft. Lots of great content and way too long. So then Jessica and I met, and Jessica's superpower is like identifying and synthesizing, especially because Jessica's a mom and has like real-time access to kids, and is like, I just tried to explain this to my 3-year-old yesterday. How about maybe you're wondering who you are? For some people, that's an easy question to answer. For some people, it's not so easy. There's no right or wrong answer. You're the expert in being you. So clearer, stronger. And then we took that draft and we sent it to the whole team of people, the pictures that you saw. And they gave us even more feedback because they not only have different gender identities and lived experiences than the 2 of us, but also bring a lot of expertise. They're trainers who train people on gender and sexuality. They have all kinds of expertise and research. And they helped us synthesize it. In particular, this page, I really want to shout out Katie, Kata, and Ollie, helped us get a lot clearer. And we got to, it's okay to wonder. Am I a girl? Am I a boy? Am I both? Am I neither? Maybe you already know. And then the original draft we had come up with as a team was just, who are you? Which I want to give a particular shout out to Ollie. I think it was, we realized in the process that we were dancing around the question. We were like vaguely giving an opportunity for kids to tell us about how they identified, but we weren't just asking it directly. And I think Ollie was the one who during one of our focus group conversations was like, kids, what if you just asked them? And we were like, oh yeah, that is what we believe. We do believe like kids are experts in who they are and are ready for this conversation. What would that look like? So our draft was just, who are you? Then we got even more feedback after that. We have an incredible editor, and Cecily helped us get it even clearer. And we started playing around with the question. At first it was, who do you feel like today? Because we were like, also identity isn't static. So maybe it's not who are you, but like today, who do you feel like today? And then we played around with that and got even clearer. Then we were like, do you wonder sometimes? Because we also wanted to create space if kids weren't clear. We didn't want to make it seem like there's a right answer and you have to know right now. And then we got even more feedback from our copy editors. And this is where we landed. You probably recognize this page from the book that we just read. And also, I think I wanted to show this process because I wanted to make it clear that it's an iterative process. There's no one right way to have this conversation. So this is our collective best thinking at this moment, and we can't wait for this book to be out in the world and for teachers and uncles and grandparents and family members to have these conversations with young children and come up with even better language, language that works for you and your family and your community.
I am so blown away.
Cool, right? Isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I'm so blown away by seeing this process happen. It's like, wow. Yeah. So, I mean, it's really a great just reminder that a lot of things in life are a process, and it's okay. And also very likely that it won't be right or your I won't even say final version. It won't be the version that you'll share with the world right away. That you might want to get help and you'll want to rewrite. Man, this is beautiful, you guys. Great life coaching moment. Thank you so much. Okay, so can you tell us, Andy, I want to talk about these illustrations. Tell us about the illustration process.
So the same way we thought, we could show some sketches to show a little bit of that process and how much things can change, while you're making a book, not just the writing, but the pictures as well. So this is one of the first pages I sketched out. And, as you can see, it's the same playground scene, but we kind of changed around the poses. I kind of tend to go a little background wild when I first start. I'm like, I want to put everything in and make it look super busy and cute and amazing. And usually the art director is like, okay, calm down a little bit. Again, to get that clarity, like the most clarity possible out of it. So kind of reducing it down. So yeah, this is one of the first ones. And the art directors in the chat, Maria's like, I don't say that. Like, in different words. So we go to the next one. So this was another one where we started out with two different kids going through the emotions, and that's before we talked about if maybe we had a pair of twins going through different experiences. So one of the twins is cisgender in this case, and she's a girl, and the other twin is non-binary. And so they kind of, they were born at the same time, but experienced life in a very different way and identify, like grow into different genders as they get older. So I thought that was a really cool way to sort of be able to show that everyone grows into themselves over time, and it doesn't look like the same process for everybody. And then the next one, this is a funny story that we talked about a little bit earlier, the little park scene. And so originally you can see I had a little ice cream person selling ice cream. And what was brought up that was funny is that in the first book, Our Skin, there was also already an ice cream person. And I drew this one afterwards, kind of, that was already done. So that illustrator and I have never met. We've never talked to each other. And somehow we had some sort of magical ice cream brainwave happen where we both put that in a book. So that one stayed. This one just became a cute little park scene with everybody hanging out.
When do you not want an ice cream scene though, Andy? That's what I don't understand. I kind of wish that would become an Easter egg and like every book would have an ice cream scene of some sort. I really want it, but maybe I could rally for that. I can for the next couple of books. We'll see. Okay, but and you're like me. I'm totally like somebody does need to tell me, calm down, focus on these few things. But I love what
It
you do with
happens a lot.
illustration. Yeah. Well, this is what I can't wait to find out because Jessica and Megan are such like masterminds. I want to know were the amounts of notes that you receive from them comparable to other projects that you're on with other authors?
I think they were actually. It wasn't that different of a process, especially because so what's funny about illustrating books is that you never actually meet the authors usually. Like this is the first time we're talking to each other and meeting. You kind of talk through like the publisher and art directors as your main contact point. And I think some of that is also to sort of condense everything so you're not getting information from like all kinds of sides. I think what I liked was that the topic of the revisions felt very different to me. It was more about diversity and inclusivity and making sure, the message about gender was very clear. And that's something that I really, really loved to see because it's something I'm really working towards too in my art to try and achieve that. So it's just very encouraging. And I think a lot of books and publishers are going more in that direction of being very diverse and inclusive. And it's a really positive and needed development for sure.
Mm-hmm. Andy, someone in the comments said, Randy said, the illustrations are as crucial as the text in these books. Terrific. And yep, I agree with that.
I agree
Totally.
completely. One of my mentors and best friends, Ijima Jordan, she says young kids are illiterate. Like, which is like a nice reminder. They're reading, it's us, the grown-ups are reading the words. Young children are reading the pictures. It's so important. Thank you, Andy.
They're illiterate. I love that. You all put your questions in inside the question and answer tab right now. We're gonna get a question or two from you all. So put those in there. I will just send a shout out right quick. They don't know that I'm gonna say this, but Andy's website is so cool. And Andy has these puzzles that they've created that are what is it? Mud Puddle and Friends? I'm sorry, I'm saying the name. Mud Puppy.
Yeah.
Mud Puppy. Oh my gosh. These puzzles are scratch and sniff puzzles, you all. So the illustrations are off the chain. They're so beautiful, but then you actually can scratch and sniff them. So there's a camp friend version where the animals are there, like have some cocoa, and you can scratch and sniff the cocoa. I can't. So anyway, so go to Andy's website and check out some of the many beautiful things there. So, okay, so we got some questions coming through. Keep them. I need a couple of questions from you all, but while we do that, I'm gonna ask. In the book it said that in our beginning you said that we learn from a young age that gender is an important social category and there are things we should or shouldn't do want to be based on the gender and sex we're assigned at birth. Can you all tell me, were there some things when you were young that you felt like you couldn't be or do or such based on gender, or have you seen that play out in your kids' lives or some of the kids in your life?
What a good question. The main thing that comes to mind for me is I remember being told a lot as a kid to be a good girl. And the way I internalized that as a kid is that it meant to be obedient, to not ever make anyone else upset, or to not enforce my own boundaries in a way that might upset, like other people's wishes for my body were somehow more important than my own wishes for my body, is the message I received about gender and what it meant to be a good girl. And it's taken so much time and so much therapy to get to a place where I'm okay writing a children's book and putting it out in the world that says we have to dismantle patriarchy. That would have been a very scary thing for me to do as a person who is socialized as a girl in this country. And I'm grateful that I've had the support of people to like help me undo that socialization and find my voice. But that was one of the messages I received as a kid, is that I was supposed to be like obedient, not make waves, be nice.
Thank you for sharing that, Megan.
Mm-hmm.
Same here. Andy or Jessica, do you all have anything that you want to share in regards to that question?
Yeah, I do for sure. So I was very lucky. My parents were always very supportive, and I had short hair as a kid, the same kind of short hair I have now for a long time, and definitely gravitated more towards like boys' clothes departments in stores because it was more comfortable and I could run and I could do things. And like some of the countries where I grew up, because I grew up in Europe, the girl departments were, with skirts and dresses and a lot more like frilly, delicate things. And it just didn't fit me as much as a person. And so while my parents were very supportive and kind of let me do what I felt comfortable with, then going outside of that sort of family environment, like when I started going to school and stuff, was when I got a little bit more like, oh, why are you wearing that? Like, what do you? And that it definitely made me go a little bit more like into myself and become a lot more shy and just not as open about that at the time. And yeah, like Megan said, it took a long time to be like, no, actually that's okay, it was totally fine, and they were wrong, I wasn't.
That's so real.
Mhm.
I have a hard time. This is such an important question. And I have a hard time getting in touch with my inner child sometimes. But something that parenting is doing for me is it's unhiding all of these things that I know that I felt deeply as a child. And I'm able to see things more clearly that are happening to my children than when they happen to me. And then I think like, wow, I totally relate to how you're reacting to this and how you're feeling. And then I kind of feel it all over again, which I think is a healthy process. Like one example, I was talking with my daughter. She asked when she was 3, so like a year ago, if we had ever had a female president, and I had to explain that we have not and why. And I got to see the disappointment and the confusion in her response to that. And I hadn't felt that disappointment or confusion in a really long time because it's so normal. Patriarchy is the air we breathe and we get used to it. And I think parenting and just being with young kids and in the library and when I was teaching really just wakes me up to those things that should be deeply upsetting and that children are so deeply upset by, but that we learn to not be as upset by it, which, I think is part of the problem. And I think one of the reasons why like having these conversations as adults with children can be so eye-opening and so impactful.
Yeah. Thank you so much, all of you all, for sharing those things that you're learning, because there does take some vulnerability to talk about these things. It does. So thank you for being willing. I know I had my moments. So you know what? I don't need to succumb to what you're talking, like we all had those moments. Okay. If you haven't had it, you're probably going to have it. So, so last thing I want to ask before we talk about like next steps for people wanting to learn more about being a part of the process of your just of making the books that you have coming up and part of the conversation now that this book is out. What are your wildest dreams for what this book will do in the world? Tell us, what do you want to see happen?
I dream of like being in my 80s and like having some important young kid in my life like over at my house, and they like pull the book off their shelf and they're like, what is this? And they flip it through, and like, I don't know if you've seen kids now when they see like an old-fashioned phone or an old-fashioned pencil sharpener, and they're just kind of like, what is this for? Like, I just don't understand. Yeah. Like, it doesn't, and then you explain it and they're like, oh, that makes sense, I guess, but it doesn't, and I want patriarchy to feel like that. I want kids in the future to pull the book off the shelf and just be like, sounds like things were really bad back then. Like, thanks for writing that book. Like, it doesn't make it, it's so foreign, it's so like, wow, that's my wildest dream.
Love it. What is this patriarchy you speak of? Okay, what do you guys? Anything you want to share, Jessica?
Yeah, I love that dream so much. I love that it's like a pencil sharp. My kids have no idea what one of those things is. Yeah, I think this is similar to like how I felt about our skin. It shouldn't be a wild dream, but because there's so much harm being done right now, I think by imposing a gender binary on kids and denying them language to express their identities and so much more. I think my wildest dream is just that I want children to be able to feel happy and safe and at home in their bodies and be supported by the grown-ups, or at least one grown-up in their lives to do that. And that may mean learning and having access to the words that they can use to describe themselves, and making choices about toys and clothes that interest them and that they like the most, and being supported and believed when they express who they are. And again, that shouldn't be a wild dream. That should just be how it is. But right now that feels hard. But it feels like, I've met so many incredible people in this process of writing these books. I feel more hopeful than I've ever felt, probably. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think my dreams, right, are pretty similar. I hope it makes conversations between kids and the adults in their lives easier. I hope it gives kids a chance to more freely explore who they are and teach the grown-ups that's okay. Yeah, I hope it can give someone hope, if maybe somebody's feeling not so great or at home in their body, and they see that there's, people out there that are working and rooting for them, for it to just be a kinder, more inclusive world. I hope that makes someone happy.
Yes. Well, this book and talking about it with you all and hearing that your hopes for our audience, that makes me happy. Wanting people to be mentally and healthily and emotionally powerful and healthy. That's good stuff. Where can we go if we want to hear? Tell us about, there's an audiobook version. People might not know that. They can listen to the story. This is so cool.
We just wanted to briefly, I wish you all could hear the whole thing right now, but we're running out of time. But we wanted to shout out something we're so excited about. There is an audiobook version of Being You, and it's narrated by L. Morgan Lee. And we just heard the audio sample, and actually, if Kimberly has that link, you can hear the audio sample now on the listening library website to get a little taste of the book. And L. Morgan Lee did such an incredible job, gave me chills listening to her narrate the book. So anything else you wanted to say about that, Megan? Or yeah, so there it is. I really encourage you. Audiobooks are great for young children and for so many different reasons. So yeah.
We're just getting started. We got another book coming up about consent. This is a little sneak preview of one of the illustrations. I am the boss of my body. I like doing things that feel good. And we would love to have you all in the future celebrate with us when that one comes out.
Yes, book 3, birthday party.
And then, yeah, we're at time, but please, before you go, firstconversations.com is where you can go for a lot more resources. We're still building the gender section. We're still building the whole website. We're continuing to add because all of this changes and we learn so much as we go. So this is a place where we're going to put all the learning that we think will be helpful for you. And then First Conversations on Instagram is a place that we hope to see you, hear from you, share your conversations, tag us First Conversations, and we will repost and share with the community. We're trying to build a big, beautiful community on different platforms. So we hope you'll join us there.
Yes, we will, Jessica, because this is awesome. We want to keep the discussion going and keep learning from each other. And you all, don't forget, you can go to greenlightbookstore.com and get those signed copies, not just copies of the book, but copies that are signed, and you can get a personalization there. You can put in the comments when you're buying your book what you want Jessica and Megan to say to you to inspire your heart, right? Absolutely. And then I want to send a special thank you so much to BPL, to Kimberly Conti for being here and handling the tech for us today, and to Penguin Books, to Penguin Rise Publishing, and Penguin Kids. Thank you so much for putting books like this out into the world. Thank you so much to all the family and friends, that focus group, all the community here supporting Megan and Jessica and Andy. We appreciate you so much. Yes. Before I say our final goodbye, I also remind you that the recordings with captions are available, so you can get those. Don't forget to get your signed book, you guys. They're gonna have it at the library, but you kind of want your signed copy, right? It's gonna be awesome. And so, anything else you all want to say before we say our final goodbyes?
Thank you.
Big thank you. You mentioned so many people. I want to just say thank you also to my family, my mom and my husband, and my kids, and all of you. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much, everyone. It was really nice to be here and talk to you and have fun reading the book.
Yes. Thank you, Megan, Andy, Jessica. Thank you for doing this great work for us. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing with us. We love you all. Thank you. Happy book birthday to you. Congratulations on this great work that you're doing. Keep it up. To their families, thank you so much for nurturing these wonderful people. You've created some little superheroes. Thank you so much. So you all keep reading out there, keep learning, be good to yourself, and be good to each other. And we will see you next time, okay? Have a wonderful night. Good night.